Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Vasil Shevchenko, former Transportation Minister of the Ukraine. Vasil, it's a pleasure to have you on again.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, beautiful. I have quite a few things I would love to talk about this morning. And the first question is, do you have any ideas that China is trying to provide Russia with military aid?
To be honest, we have had a lot of different information. And first of all, we can confirm that they are providing them drones, but it's drones which isn't exactly for combat events, but we know that they have bought it for more than 100 billions, and we are sure that they could provide that could be bought just to provide Russia's military troops. And a type of new war, for example, at the battle line, our troops are fighting with Russians these small drones. And they decided to take this idea, and I don't know if it's agreed that it's to purpose drones or not, because in Ukrainian media appeared information that they have provided it. But at the same time, we haven't received, and we don't know exactly if they provide Russia Federation military needs. And here better to rely for information which received in the which were appeared in the world media, when it appeared that Russia has received a lot of information from different countries through Maldives, for example, and offshore zones from Georgia, from Kyrgyzstan, and this country who were mediator in this buying more technological spare parts for their missiles, for their radar system, and for their military needs, including systems which would allow to produce long-range missiles. Because now we are suffering because of their heavy shelling. First of all, they have shelled port city Odessa, and they used again Odessa for types of missiles. It was drones, it was ballistic missiles, it was cruise missiles, it was ballistics missiles which can correct their blow. And these types demands different. This type of missiles demand from us to have different type of air defense systems, because we are fighting with them at the different point. And first of all, it's their tactics to fight against civilians, because they have targeted in Odessa region isn't seaports or military base. They targeted civilian residential houses, and they have damaged more than 20 historical monuments which are part of international UNESCO organization. And they are trying to frighten Ukrainians and especially people who live in port city, because they have made their next step. They announced the war against all peoples on the earth, because they demonstrated that they can influence for Ukraine's exports, and you know that Ukraine providing a lot of countries around the world food. First of all, it's grain, wet grain, and corn grain. And because of it, they decided to demonstrate that they are powerful and can do it, and decided to shell Ukraine's city. But isn't only port infrastructure which would allow us to walk through so-called grain deal, because this grain deal has two agreements. One of them it's agreement between Ukraine, United Nations, and Turkey. And another United Nations, Turkey, and Russia. And they decided to leave this agreement and decided to demonstrate that they can blackmail all people around the world. And we could see that a couple days ago they invited for the meeting 52 countries from Africa, and only 17 countries confirmed to visit Russia Federation, and as a result Russia's president promised to give few countries grain free, and it looks like a joke, because it's blackmail countries. And as a result, we saw that at the meeting for media, representatives who visited Russia Federation demanded from Russia Federation to prolong grain deal and to stop war in Ukraine, because it influenced prices around the world, and it made more expensive shipping this wheat and this corn for many countries around the world. And I don't know, there was Russia's president's speech, and he spoke a lot of different things, and we cannot understand them, and because he captured part of Ukraine, and now he started speaking about peace agreement. And he cannot understand that all people around the world understand that Ukraine cannot leave them this territory, and if he wants to have negotiations, he must withdraw his troops from Russia Federation to pay compensation and to ask to forgive him, but he haven't done it, and he continues blackmail all countries, and he demonstrates that somebody is threatening him, and because of it, this battle line is more wider than in Ukraine, because Ukraine, it's a battle line for military forces, and now we can say that our military forces are fighting quite effectively, and during this time have liberated more territory than Russia captured it during last winter.
Okay.
And yes, sorry.
That's okay. I want to answer this question because Poland expresses its concern about the Poland-Belarus border as tensions mount there, and they fear wider conflict. Putin, on the other hand, is stating that should Poland get involved, he would take this as an attack on Russia. What does this say for Putin at this point?
I think it's type of his chantage, blackmail plan for NATO countries, because we know that better to say, I don't know how to describe it, because it's the domestic conflict, domestic mercenaries. Russia Federation decided to storm Moscow, and them they canceled their moving to the Moscow, and they agreed that this mercenary group will be allocated in Belarus, and Belarus is a point they can try to provoke Poland side, and they can try to detect how NATO countries will react for it, because he cannot defeat Ukraine and Ukraine forces with our partners, and Ukraine forces are strengthening and are fighting more and more effectively, and now we can say that must strengthen first line is being eliminated by Ukrainian forces, and they want to shift the point of conflict, and they try to demonstrate it that the grain deal to blackmail world the famine, and now he will try to maybe he can try to provoke, and then they will try to comment that it isn't Russia's army, it's mercenary, and Belarus it isn't Russia, and this way they try to made all countries to negotiate with them. But we know that all the negotiation with the Russia Federation, it's better to say it's a liar, because it's only country which has full domination above domestic media, and Russia doesn't have any free media, and all information we receive from Russia Federation, it's all this fakes, all this lie, and part of propaganda separation, and because of it they can provoke in media, they can test it in media, and they can do anything to provoke, and Western countries which are responsible must react for it. But from our point of view, I commented that all this reaction, it's just provocations to detect and to make West to follow their false ideas, and I think this type of behavior they will have, and we remember initially they tried to eliminate Ukraine and Western countries by nuclear weapon, and this idea has disappeared, and it appeared that they decided to blackmail countries by famine, and I'm sure that with Western support we managed to provide our partners around the world by food, and I'd say that now we must be together, because Russia's liar can penetrate to different spheres and can differently influence for Western countries, because, for example, they can use advantages developed and democratic countries when they try to provoke domestic conflicts or conflicts inside of NATO countries and conflict in between countries in the European Union. They have spreaded a lot of provocation between different peoples, and all these things is part of new type of war, and I think West cannot react, cannot follow these provocations.
Yes. I want to ask you this other question. Kyiv claims it retains Donetsk village, but Putin admits that he is intensifying fighting. Is that really true, or he is just trying to mislead the public, or his people actually?
To be honest, now situation is, but at the battle line, really difficult for both sides, because we know that they half of year ago they issued information that they had plans to draft 500,000 soldiers, and I'm not sure that they can demonstrate a real number of soldiers, because at the battle line it appeared that they have formed a new army from 200 soldiers who are allocated in different parts. But now they are limited in armed vehicle, and sometimes they have good way supplying, where they have good way ammunition supplying. They are shelling Ukraine troops heavily, but Ukraine forces doesn't have so much ammunition, but we have Western radar system which allow Ukrainians to detect their artillery, and every day maybe a few weeks we can see that Ukraine forces managed to eliminate Russia's artillery units.
Okay.
But now it's we can comment that there are a lot of heavy battles in different parts, but Ukraine forces are moving slowly, because their first line is built for at the expense Russia's budget, because you can see they have issued information about economical activities, and there are information about producing concrete, that concrete producing have risen for about 25%, and that we know that Russia Federation doesn't build residential houses, and they are sending it to the battle line, and they heavily mined territory just in front of first line.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. For public health interests, I'm wondering, out of curiosity, there are tens of thousands of Russian soldiers dying on a regular basis, and how is these bodies being removed or buried? I'm just trying to figure that one out. How are Ukraine dealing with that? Because I think it will have a public health impact.
I don't know exactly, but in Ukraine media we have had a lot of information about Russia's killed soldiers' bodies. They don't interested to to transport it to their families, and they don't care about it. First of all, now battle line is covered by Russia's dead soldiers' body, and there are at the battle line there are a lot of bodies and bad smell. And I spoke with my friend who's serving his service at the battle line, and he couldn't. That troop smell is covering all trenches, and they are not interested in exchanging killed soldiers' bodies. For example, Ukraine are immediately transporting and ask ceasefire for taking killed soldiers' body to our side, and they don't care about it. And it appeared when they started working with mercenary groups, and who drafted prisoners and homeless people and people who had problems with the domestic law, and all of them they were included in mercenary groups, and they were attacking Ukraine forces and were eliminated in the Bakhmut, which is now half surrounded from both sides. At the hills are allocated Ukraine forces, Ukraine's points, and now they are holding under fire control this city. And they tried to strengthen them, but it appeared that they have no opportunity because they are limited in military vehicle, and they are limited in opportunity to move easily. And they but at the same time they are trying to strengthen their position, because you could see that defense minister of Russia visited North Korea just to ask ammunition from North Korea. It's a union which is formed, and Russia and North Korea, and it's a new military union they have managed to form. And they asked them about charges for artillery, because their economy doesn't allow them to fight, to provide new drafted military units by military vehicles, ammunition, etc. And because of it, we can comment that they are trying to use all instruments in waging war against war. It's blackmail world in the whole, just to receive any benefits. And these benefits, it's now they are speaking about ceasefire, but they want to hold this Ukraine's territory they captured initially, and they are trying to provide their aggressive policy around the world.
Well, it seems that Russia at this point becoming more desperate and desperate as this war prolongs, and it shifts in favor of the Ukrainians. We have like less than 2 minutes now. Would you like to summarize that? The successes of this war right now?
To be honest, quite difficult to predict this war, because we don't know how much soldiers they will try to sell to Ukraine, because I think that, and I'd rely for Ukraine's military expert who comment it that Russia will have to announce the full-scale drafting campaign because they are limited in soldiers and they are sending them to die, and but they will continue waging war because all Russians are under Russia's propaganda, and Russia's propaganda demands them to go to die at the battle line in Ukraine. And we know that they have lost about 250,000 Russian soldiers at the battle line in Ukraine, and we cannot see that they are going to stop it, and because of it, we have casualties at the battle line, and we have to pay. But our soldiers are defending their families, their land, and their future, and because of it, we are together. We are together with our ally, with United States, and we thanks for ammunition for support Ukraine in at the battle line, and for funding our budget, and thanks our partners in Europe.
That's beautiful. Well, Vasil, we come to the final few seconds in this program. It was really a pleasure having you on, and we will definitely keep in touch. And look forward to be talking with you pretty soon again. And to all those who have been tuning in or living in the 21st century, have a great day.